Okay. Here we go. Innocent black male arrested due to faulty AI facial recognition. Here we go again. Put it at full mass. All right. How do we get here? On this one, NYPD falsely arrested a black male based off of faulty facial recognition technology. We've talked about this before on Indisputable. Now, activists are calling for an investigation into previous arrests. According to ABC7 News, civil rights and privacy groups are demanding an investigation into the NYPD's use of facial recognition technology after a black male was allegedly arrested and jailed for 2 days based on false identification. Trevis Williams told ABC that the actual criminal the NYPD was after looked nothing like him, outside of the fact that they are both black men with similar hair. Quote, I was so angry, I was stressed out, end quote, Williams said. Quote, the man they were looking for, he was 8 inches shorter than me and 70 pounds lighter, end quote. According to the New York Times, the arrest stemmed from a 911, call made in February by a woman who told the police that a delivery man had exposed himself to her in a Manhattan building. She reportedly described the man as being 5 feet 6 inches, which makes it odd that officers arrested Williams about 2 months after the incident was reported, considering he is over 6 feet tall. The New York Times reports the man, Trevis Williams, was driving from Connecticut to Brooklyn on the day of the crime. And location data from his phone put him about 12 miles away at the time. But a facial recognition program plucked his image from an array of mugshots, and the woman identified him as the flasher. Like Mr. Williams, the culprit was black, had a thick beard and mustache, and wore his hair in braids. Physically, the two men had little else in common. Mr. Williams was not only taller, he also weighed 230 pounds. The victim said the delivery man appeared to weigh about 160 pounds. But Mr. Williams still spent more than 2 days in jail in the month of April. April 21st, the police caught Mr. Williams entering the subway through an exit gate in Brooklyn and learned he was wanted for questioning in the February 10th episode. They took him into custody. When they interrogated him, Mr. Williams told the police that he had started making deliveries for Amazon on April 1st. He explained he had worked in an Amazon warehouse during COVID-19 and in Atlanta, but that at the time of the crime, he had been working his Connecticut job with autistic adults. Quote, that's not me, man, he said when the police showed him surveillance images of the flasher. Quote, I swear to God, that's not me, end quote. Quote, of course you're going to say that wasn't you, the detective responded. He then asked what would happen if he pulled Mr. Williams' employment records. So the police decided to go ahead and charge him the following day anyway. NYPD officials told ABC that its use of this software comes with legal regulations and that the technology has a proven success rate that eclipses the number of times it has been wrong and led to false arrest. That's horrible. The department also noted that, quote, even if there is a possible match, the NYPD cannot and will never make an arrest using facial recognition technology solely. I mean, they would never violate an office policy. We're talking about the police. They would never allow facial recognition technology to do their jobs. We know that. 100% fact. They would never be that lazy. However, this is not the first time we've reported on someone going to jail based on a faulty confirmation from an AI or computer generated recognition technology. Let's do this. Let's eliminate that technology for a minute, just for a moment, and look at the variables as a detective would. You have a variability in the weight. You have a significant variation in the height. You also have a credible alibi that's verifiable. Without the AI technology, does that man still spend the night or 2 nights in jail? No, he doesn't. What was the one piece of information that seemed to override all of the other investigative prowess that would have normally been affixed to this case? The technology. The technology. Now, the NYPD, they have to say, based on the licensing and the use of the technology, they have to say by law, we would never make a decision based solely on the technology, because if they say that, they no longer are in lawful use of the technology. It has to be an investigative aid. It cannot be the investigator. But it seems as if in practice, or at least in culture at times, it overrides the investigative common sense of the detective in charge. Just a point. All right. The police did charge him. But then what else? Williams was the arrest based off of. Williams said that the negative impact of his arrest did not end once the charges were dropped. Quote, I was in the process of becoming a correctional officer at Rikers Island, he told ABC, adding that, quote, they kind of froze the hiring process after his arrest, but you don't say. Quote, I hope people don't have to sit in jail or prison for things they didn't do, Williams said. A forensic analysis that Mr. Williams' lawyers made of his phone record showed that at the time of the crime, his phone had communicated with the cell towers around Brooklyn, according to data reviewed by the Times. His lawyers were prepared to use that evidence in court, but the case was dismissed before they could present it. You know who else could have got that evidence? Well, the detective. The detective. There's more. Mr. Williams, who has a 12-year-old son, feared that the charges could get him placed on some type of offender registry and that he would be unable to find work or pick up his child from school. He felt humiliated. He felt angry. And he worried that everyone he knew would find out about these shameful charges. And I want to say this, dear brother. What's shameful is the system that did it. You're an innocent victim of a holistic, corrupt system. It has its bright moments every now and then when good people step up and do the right thing. But even the explanation from top leadership about this, well, they would call it mishap. Well, the system gets it right way more than it gets it wrong. And the people that are wrongly arrested, well, that pales in comparison to the people that are rightfully arrested. That's not our measure. The system is broken if one innocent human being ever gets arrested, convicted of a crime that they have never done. That is your standard. And anyone who's willing to give you less than that standard, they are not worthy of your trust. All right, Sharon, thoughts here.
Well, the innocent man has shown that he's deserving of damages here. Now, I
Yeah.
wouldn't give him a dollar for the Rikers part, losing the job there. You don't want to go there. You want to talk about people who've been held. One young man committed suicide after he was held so long for nothing but something about a backpack. So you don't want to go there. But the rest shows how lazy these bums are, from the cell towers to everything else. Were they eating donuts when they picked them up? Taking a little break, Were they looking sloppy and lazy? Because that's what you related. That's absolutely what I heard. And as far as the software, the facial recognition nonsense, it has a high inaccuracy rate for Black people,
Yeah.
particularly Black women. Why? Because flawed data in, flawed data out. It's based on mostly white men. That's what they fed into the system. That's also why Siri pretends they can't understand what I'm saying, okay?
Right.
Because they're not trained on my voice. I thought I talked for a living, but you know. So we've got to stop relying on this stuff and calling it just great, conclusive, when people's lives are at stake.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Well said. And we'll bring you updates as they come. I definitely think this individual should look for an attorney.